In 2021, Bangladesh was a rising star. It had become the clothing factory of the world. Its GDP per capita had exceeded that of India. It was making steady strides in infrastructural development, and many called it an inspiration for countries like India. But in 2025, just 4 years later, the situation is completely different.
Now we turn to Bangladesh, where some protests have turned deadly.
The Bangladesh Prime Minister has resigned and left the country.
Experts warn that without immediate action, the country could plunge into severe economic crisis.
Bangladesh is riddled with economic instability, political turmoil, and an uncertain future. But how did things get so bad so fast? Let us figure it out in this video. In 2008, Bangladesh's GDP per capita stood at $600. For comparison, this figure in the case of both India and Pakistan was around $1,000. Bangladesh back then was one of the poorest nations in the world. Over 40% of its population was below the poverty line. It was riddled with poverty and extreme corruption. Political instability and power shortages also crippled the economy and various industries. But then enters Sheikh Hasina. Sheikh Hasina was born in 1947 and she was the daughter of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, who was not only the first president of Bangladesh but also the founding father of Bangladesh. He, however, was assassinated in 1975, after which Sheikh Hasina went into exile till 1981 when she returned back to Bangladesh. She went on to lead the Awami League Party, which is one of the two major political parties in Bangladesh. We'll be talking about the second one pretty soon. So she went on to lead the Awami League Party and also became the Prime Minister in 1996 from 1996 till 2001, after which she lost. But then she became the Prime Minister again in 2008. And here is where the transformation of Bangladesh really started. Between 2008 and 2024, Bangladesh's GDP per capita went from $600 to $2,700. For comparison, in the same period, Pakistan's GDP per capita went from $1,000 to a mere $1,300, and India's GDP per capita went from $1,000 to $2,700 despite being the fastest growing large economy of the world. This growth was largely fueled by Sheikh Hasina's strategic policies aimed at boosting exports, attracting foreign investments, and improving infrastructure. The biggest beneficiary of all of this was the textile industry. Bangladesh went on to become the textile hub of the world, or the clothing factory. It had all the right ingredients. It had cheap labor, business-friendly policies, and foreign investment. Sheikh Hasina brought it all together. And as a result of that, the garment industry became 83% of Bangladesh's total exports. Things were going great and they were looking to expand even beyond textile to footwear, leatherware, and automotive manufacturing and assembly. On top of this, infrastructural projects like the Padma Bridge, Metro Rail, and deep sea ports were boosting connectivity and trade. The power sector as well saw massive improvements. Electricity access went from 40% in 2005 to nearly 100% by 2024. But then, how did this growth come to a halt? Well, it started in 2022 with the Russia-Ukraine crisis. Bangladesh's economy was doing great, but it had one major problem: the fact that it was too dependent on exports, and particularly garment exports. Apart from textile, Bangladesh's economy is largely reliant on imports, particularly that of energy and common commodities like sugar, eggs, and cooking oil. With the Russia-Ukraine crisis, crude oil prices shot up substantially, and with it, even the prices of common essential commodities that Bangladesh really imported. And as a result of all of this, inflation in Bangladesh shot up. Inflation that was at 5.5% between 2016 and 2021 shot up to more than 10% as of 2022. This basically led to two things. Firstly, a substantial drop in their forex reserves from $50 billion in 2021 to a mere $35 billion by 2022. But to top it all off, there were also protests in the country against this inflation. To make things worse, just a year later, in 2023, there were another round of major protests in the country to increase the minimum wage for garment factory workers by 56%, from $75 to $113 per month. These protests led to hundreds of garment factories getting shut down and tens of thousands of jobs being lost. But the final blow came in July 2024, when due to massive student protests all across the country, Sheikh Hasina was even forced to flee the country. These protests were opposing the reinstatement of the quota system, basically a 30% reservation for the families of freedom fighters. Now, many do argue that these protests were staged to a certain degree and that there was a foreign involvement in basically toppling the Sheikh Hasina government. But let's not get into that because it's controversial, and even more so than that, it's just not relevant to our story. Anyway, after Sheikh Hasina left Bangladesh, Nobel Prize winner Muhammad Yunus returned to the country from the US to become the interim leader. Muhammad Yunus was the CEO of Grameen Bank, and largely microfinance can be credited to him. Microfinance is basically giving out small value loans to the poorest section of society. And it is precisely for this that he was giving the Nobel Prize. He will remain the interim leader of the country until the next election, which is expected towards the end of 2025. But Bangladesh now faces a perfect storm. On an economic front, credit rating agencies have downgraded the country due to political instability. Foreign investors are pulling out money, and the garment factories that were the backbone of their economy are now shifting elsewhere to countries like Vietnam and India. Their foreign reserves, which were already down after the 2022 crisis, have fallen even further. First, they fell from $50 billion to $35 billion, and then towards the end of 2024, they were as low as $15 billion. They have recovered a tad bit after that, but not significantly. On a geopolitical front as well, things are pretty bad. Firstly, religious minorities like the Hindus, Christians, and Buddhists are being targeted and are vulnerable. That's at least what the report suggests. Sheikh Hasina recently said that Bangladesh has become the land of terrorists and militants. And if the news coming regarding the prosecution of minorities is indeed true, then this certainly has become the case. Further, Bangladesh has been cozying up to Pakistan. This probably has to do with BNP coming into power, which is the second major political party of Bangladesh. BNP is the Bangladesh Nationalist Party, and they tend to be closer to Pakistan than to India. But this is exceptionally funny because prior to 1971, Bangladesh was East Pakistan, and the entire liberation war was to gain independence from the atrocities of the Pakistani army in Bangladesh. In fact, not only has Bangladesh started cozying up to Pakistan, ISI is largely looking to re-establish Pakistani presence of the pre-1971 in Bangladesh. Lastly, this crisis has also been exacerbated by Bangladesh's exposure to Chinese lenders. Bangladesh owes billions to Chinese lenders, and it could face a similar situation as Sri Lanka did, where if they default on these payments, China would go ahead and keep access to some of their integral and important infrastructural assets. The question now is if Bangladesh can recover from it all and get back to its growth trajectory. What do you guys think about it? Let me know so in the comment section below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you again soon.